Hey, welcome back, gang, to Darwin. Hey, welcome back, gang, to Darwin. Hey, welcome back, gang. Today we're starting a brand new series. Really excited about this one. We're doing speed progressions. So our goal in this series is to become masters at creating fun, unique, but also fast single note runs. We're going to learn how to take control of the fretboard by breaking speed picking down into smaller, easy to learn concepts. So let's outline those real quick. So as we go through our lessons, we know our goal and what we're trying to accomplish with each one. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn 6 progressions. All right, so we'll spend the lesson on each one. If you're a beginner, don't let this phase you. Each progression is going to be pretty short. They're based off a harmonized scale that you probably already know, like pedals down on 3 and 5, B and C on 6 and 4, E flat lever on 5 and 4. And we're just going to turn those into single note runs using our picking hand. Right. So like I said, each one is going to be easy to memorize, and each one can stand alone as its own speed progression, right? That we can turn into a solo. After that, we're going to take a look at 4 styles of connectors, and those are major, pentatonic, going to do Mooney style, and the B pedal bounce, which I have done a lesson on previously, but we will revisit. And you can think of the connectors as things we can add to the speed progression to give it context, right? Because say if I take my speed progression and put it into a song, da 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 da, it's like, okay, that's like harsh and it like doesn't like, it's jarring, right? We need things to add to the speed progressions to embellish them, right? Give them some flavor. Okay, after we learn those 4 connectors, we are going to learn how to combine our speed progressions. Oops, that's a B, combine. So say being able to jump from like the 6 and 5 progression to, on A and B, to a 5 and 4 using the E flat lever. And that way we're able to extend the progression and make it sound even cooler, right? So we'll learn ways to combine our progressions. And then the last thing we are going to do is learn how to end our progressions, because it doesn't matter how fast and cool it sounds if it ends in a mess. Also, we're going to take a look at, so each one of these progressions are going to go from the 1 chord to the 1 chord. And we'll look at ways of ending our progressions on other chords. So being able to, if a solo goes from a 1 to a 4, being able to end on that 4 chord and at the string and fret of our choosing. So seems like an advanced concept, but we're going to make it pretty easy. So just for example, being able to end on a 1 to a 4. Okay, let me wipe this off and we'll do some quick examples. Magic. All right, so probably like the simplest example of a solo would be, we're going to do a progression, do a connector, and solo. Or we could do the opposite. We could do connector into a progression, right? Solo. As we get more advanced, say we do a progression and we move it down to a progression on another string group, right? Into a connector, and call that a solo. And like we talked about, being able to end on a chord of our choosing. Say we do progression, connector, progression, and we end this progression on the 5 chord. End on the 5. All right, so like I said in the beginning, simple, easy to learn concepts. We're going to learn all these things that are going to essentially be like plug and play, right? So no matter your skill level, you're going to be able to come up with some really cool runs because we won't be thinking about every single note we're playing. We're thinking about, I'm stacking this progression with this connector and I'm going to end it right here, right? Really under control. Hope that's clear. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. But without further ado, let's check out that first progression.
Get the tab and watch ad-free at patreon.com/pedalsteel.
Hello, gang. The journey of a million notes begins with one speed progression. All right, and today we're going to learn it. But seriously, if you skip those first few minutes of me yakking, please go back and listen, especially if you're a beginner. It's going to help you understand what we're trying to do with each lesson. All right, so part one. Today we're dealing with strings 3 and 5 using our A and B pedals. These first few licks are going to be based on the pedals down, harmonized scale. So if I'm in C major, so our first one, we're just going to be running those first few positions, toggling thumb and middle, like I said, turning it into single notes. So we're going to go middle thumb, slide to the next position, release those pedals, middle thumb, slide, and middle. And then we're going to reverse it, middle thumb, but still middle thumb, slide, middle thumb, slide. So we got to slide and pedal back in at the same time, and back to middle. Doesn't sound like much right now, but let's throw a metronome on it. 120 beats per minute. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, pretty simple so far. So this next one, we're just going to add a little bit more flavor to it. So we're going to start by picking open and pedaling in now. The next part's the same, pick and slide to 6. Now we're going to add in the chromatic position between 6 and 8, so the 7th fret, and then finally make it to 8. Let's hit that with the metronome. One thing to mention is that this one is going to feel offbeat because we're still starting on the down of 1, but we're picking and pedaling in to the 1 rather than just starting there. All right, let's go. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, so hopefully you can see how we start adding speed. That's going to sound like a really cool lick. And you might be wondering how I'm picking it. Like I've been saying, this is all, I like to do thumb and middle. It's for the 99% of people, thumb and middle is going to be fastest. I do like to leave my index finger kind of anchored there on the 4th string, because it just, it keeps my hand locked in, and it also just gives me something to pick against, right? Rather than, okay, next one. We are going to be doing the lick we just did. We're just going to add an exit to it. So you might have noticed we're doing the first 3 parts of the C major harmonized scale. Right? Do, re, mi. But even though this is mi, this is also our pedals up C position. So I'm still on the 1 chord there. So we're going to take this lick and now we're going to end it on the 4 chord. So we're going to do the pattern we just did. Okay. Then we're going to pick 5 and pedal in, up to 3, and then back to 5, rock off, and down to 6 with B. And that's the whole thing. 1, 2, ready, go. so there's just a simple little exit there, taking us into the 4 chord, the F. All right, now we're going to do something a little funky. We're going to take this pattern we just learned, and we're going to run it through a 1-4-5 progression. All right, so we just did it in C, and we'll do it in F, and then in G. And to end it, we're just going to pedal in. So real slow. All right, let's do it with the metronome. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, so came up with just a cool one right there, and as you can see, all it is a half scale, half C major harmonized scale. Before we dive off into the next one, let's just get some little bonus points in. So let's continue the pattern through the whole C major scale. What would that look like? So again, that's and we just found a way to end it on the 4 chord. And I could do that same lick on the 5 chord. Right. So don't feel like you're stuck with just these progressions, right? We'll get more complicated later on, but I want you thinking about these things of being able to jump in and out of the progression. Okay, so we've just talked about 3 and 5 starting from pedals down, but we also have 3 and 5 from pedals up. Right? So that's essentially our B and C harmonized scale, our chords of the scale. That weird diminished. But we're just going to be using A and B because we're not going to be playing the 4th string, right? So pedals up, pedals down, up, up, down, up, up. All right, so we're actually going to take this from the top. We're going to be using our same picking progression as the pedals up version. So middle thumb, slide to the next position, middle thumb, slide and pedal in, middle thumb. This time we release pedals, middle, thumb, slide to the next position, middle thumb. This time we're going to slide and pedal again, middle thumb, slide, middle thumb, pedal out. One more middle. And again, we're going from top down just for the fun of it to show that we can. Let's run that with tempo. 1, 2, ready, go. All right. For bonus points, so we just went from G to G, 1 to 1. Let's end it on the C. Do I want to end on that C? No, I don't. Let's keep it moving. How about this C? Yeah, let's end it there. All right, again, be thinking about those things. How about the D, the 5 chord? Okay. And then our very last lick, we're going to work our way up Doing the same pattern, middle thumb. All right, now here's a little interesting thing, right? So normally this would be, right, 1, 7, 6, right? But we can also go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can turn this into a 1 by going pedals down. So we can cut this one short. Let's run it with metronome. 1, 2, ready, go. Cool. So we can call that a 1 to a 1 or a 1 to a 6, depending on the context. So let's get some more bonus points in there. Let's do the same thing that we did with the first lick by adding in those chromatic positions. Right, so we've got these common spaces between 3 and 5, right? Those are both pedals down. So we can add the chromatic. And then we've got common chord structures between these two places. So we can add the chromatic position there. So from the top, 1, 2, ready, go. So the next thing to do with these, after we've learned this picking pattern, right? Next we're going to have to learn how to run it in other keys, right? Because we're not always going to be playing in C or G. And run it backwards. So again, even though we're playing this fast, take it slow, get those notes in, good picking, and we will come back with speed progression 2 later this week or next week.